The Almost Perfect Podcast.
Welcome to the Almost Perfect Podcast, a celebration of fuck-ups, failures, and falling flat on your face. This is a podcast that believes you can learn from experience, but that experience doesn't have to be your own. Hi, I'm Bob Perfect, and I'm a functional fuck-up. Let's learn from somebody else's mistakes. And today we're learning from Lex LaFoy. Now, Lex is a rapper. She used to be a poet, and I guess she kind of still is. She's also an activist and does a number of other things, which we get into on the podcast. But Lex is someone who I think is super influential in the hip hop scene, and is someone who you should definitely know about if you don't already. I think she's quite underrated actually when it comes to rap in this country. I know like rappers rate her and hip hop heads who know her rate her and stuff, but the general public still are sleeping, and hopefully that'll change this year for her. I'm a big fan of her work. I think she's just really good, and I think Honey Bass was actually just a phenomenal album. Once again, quite underrated last year, but you should go check that out if you want to listen to some dope rap from South Africa. And you should listen to this podcast if you want to hear some really interesting conversations about a whole host of topics, like stuff from meeting Beyonce, meeting Beyonce, to beginning with the difference between meditation and prayer. So yeah, we go all over the show with this one, and it's quite a cool conversation, and I learn a lot. And also I let Lex share a lot of stuff that usually I would like challenge. Like, she's into numerology and astrology and stuff, and I'm totally not. And back in the day, I think I would have like argued with her about some of the stuff, but instead, like, I wanted to hear her truths and let her tell her story, of course. And I think maybe I'm growing a little bit there. Also, I just love Lex and would like never want to insult her, I guess. So we had like a really cool free-flowing chat and a cool exchange of ideas, some of which were very weird from my side as well. Talking, robots continuing what humanity started, and a whole lot of other things. So it's not like I don't have my own weird shit that other people might go, Bob, that's a bit of a crazy belief, man. So we all got our things. Anyway, that's a really fun conversation. It's a really deep conversation. Lex, as I said, is just someone I think we can actually all learn from. She's been creative from the get-go, as she says, and she's put out a lot of work, and she's worked with a lot of different people. She's been influential in a lot of different ways, and she's got a new EP coming out called 22, which should be dropping in February, which is next month. It should be dropping in February. Hopefully it still does. If not, obviously check out her social medias and stuff to know exactly when that is going to drop. But yeah, we discussed that project. We discussed Honey Bass a little bit. We discussed the early days. We discussed so damn much. So here it comes. Actually wait, I gotta do the things. I've gotta like tell you about links and stuff and try to get money out of you. If you want to give me money, you can do so at patreon.com/almostperfect. That's a thing that like they do overseas that maybe we could do here. Maybe it's kind of like a collection plate. If you dig this thing, then you can chip in $1, and then I'll eventually get that $1, and maybe one day I'll hire a sound editor and get like a graphic designer and start building a team around this thing and making it super professional and cool. Or I'll just blow it on weed. Who knows? Like 50-50 chance. I'm joking. I really do want to make this thing work, and all your money will actually go towards improving the podcast. But other than that, if you dig the cast and want to support it and don't want to throw in a few shekels, that's totally fine. Just hit subscribe on like whichever platform you're listening to this on. If you're on Spotify or Stitcher or iTunes or Anchor or any of those, please just hit a subscribe there, hit a like, maybe leave a comment. That sort of stuff gets it seen in more feeds, and it lets more people know that, hey, maybe it's a cool podcast, because maybe it is a cool podcast. Other than that, go find the Facebook stuff. There will be links everywhere I post this. There will be links to everything, actually, so don't even bother. Just check wherever I post this and then click whichever link is relevant to you. Other than that, enjoy. Here it comes, the Almost Perfect Podcast with Lex LaFoy.
So,
I'm actually just going to hit record and we can get going.
Okay, perfect.
But what were you going to say?
I was going to say my voice has been a little croaky lately. I've been, instead of running to energy drinks as a first option, I've been trying tequila shots because it leaves you without the can't sleep syndrome.
You see, this is me on the jaw as well. Like, I definitely switched from Red Bull to tequila a few years back, much to my hangover chagrin. Like, you're so
Right.
sure you can sleep, but
Don Julio, that's the answer. There's no sugar in there, but then
it?
it makes my voice real croaky, so I'm gonna have to find a third option.
because obviously alcohol is not the best for you.
Not always.
Have you-
I have to go on vitamins. I think I have to get multivitamins. That might help me
Just
more.
keep your
Just for
energy
the
levels-
lifestyle. Because
Yeah.
the lifestyle we live, we need those additional supplements if we're not getting them wholesomely in food. Yeah.
That's the thing, because you're a rapper and you've moved to Joburg now and you're doing so many other things as well.
Yeah.
So do you find that is an issue, like that, like health is a big problem that you have, like when it comes to maintaining things?
Absolutely. This is my personal philosophy, Bob, is like self-work is our primary work. Everything else we attract depending on the state of mind and the state of being that we're in as people. So in other words, if I'm not right, how do I expect to attract things that are right? Lauryn Hill said it in her songs, like if I don't make sure I am in a good state or my health is good or I'm getting enough sleep or, how do I expect any of my works to flourish or to extend in that well-balanced nature?
But how do you... Cool.
We're good. Thank you, brother. Oh, thank you so much. So a balanced lifestyle is really important for me because...
But how do you find that balance
Yeah.
though? Because, I mean, we were just talking off cast and like you're
Yeah.
saying all the things you have on your like plate at the
Yeah.
moment. Like, how do you find that balance? Because even me, like I've been up here just for this week
Yeah.
and my like eating habits have gone to shit
Right.
because I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to do anything like
Yes.
that. So I'm trying to find spots that I can
Yeah.
find a good meal for cheap, but a good meal for cheap is almost impossible,
Or
especially when you're on the
closest to
go.
home food.
Exactly. Yeah.
So well-being for me is a whole holistic spectrum. I mean, I try and fit in exercising as much as I can. I try to run. My goal is to run once a week. When I was in Durban, I was running like 3-4 times a week. But I guess because I wasn't as busy as well, and now I'm trying to balance getting enough sleep with getting enough exercise. So eating healthy is something that I try my best to do. Try and include as much raw foods, as much salads, as much fruits as possible. And it's easy in summer because the body craves raw foods,
those fruits
as opposed to
especially.
cooked foods. So like trying my best to eat healthy, trying to fit in a run, a jog, stretching is super healthy for me. And then of course mental and spiritual well-being, whether it be meditation, prayer, quiet time, downtime, self-time.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could get into something I don't really speak to other people about, but yeah, what's the difference there between meditation and prayer for you?
I love this one.
Yeah, because I think, because obviously, so I used to be religious. I used
Yeah.
to be Christian for a while, and I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
But I find that meditation for me is essentially still prayer.
Yes,
Like what I used to do, like for praying, is now what I do when I meditate.
Yes, that's a really dope question. So offhand, in my practical understanding of it, I feel like meditation for me, I focus more on silent meditation.
Okay.
So that for me is a practice
clearing
of
the mind.
quietening, clearing the mind. And
I'm
that
terrible at that.
and it's a practice, like anything else.
I do need
it's a
to. That's
practice.
honestly something I avoid a lot. I don't work on it enough.
Dude, where do we get the time to? But for me, meditate, like I prefer a silent meditation in that, because they say anything we practice consciously, repetitively becomes subconscious.
Yeah.
So that is essentially the creation of a habit. you
Yeah,
know?
these are things I'm still learning.
Yeah, or the programming of our minds. So like anything we practice consciously for a long time becomes subconscious. So the thing is, we're exposed to so much noise around us. We're exposed to so much, and most of it, I'm sorry to say, or a lot of it is negative.
Yeah.
We hear people speak about there not being enough. We hear people speak about just like some negative shit. And for me, clearing the mind helps me to wash out that because it's not healthy stuff. It's not good for me to keep those things. And also, like Erykah Badu says, you don't have to believe everything you think. We've been programmed. Wake up. A lot of the thoughts we have are not even our own. So the quiet meditation, I mean, we catch energies.
Yeah.
We catch opinions.
Well, I mean, I don't believe any of our thoughts are, and I think they're just extensions of everything else. And I think humanity itself is essentially just continually, the progression of ideas. And
beautiful.
Like, not just, it's not just the progression of humanity. It's literally, I also have some weird ideas that the robots are going to take over, and they're going to. But that's the thing. It's essentially just that. It's like there's something outside of us that's going forward.
Yes.
Like more ideas, and I don't know what the end result of any of this is.
Yeah.
But that is what it feels like. That's what consciousness feels like. It's everyone together discovering different stuff, and we're all coming to conclusions and that. But it's all related to stuff that's happened before us, and we don't really have much choice in what we do find and what we do learn and stuff like that. That's all stuff that comes to us from outside sources a lot of the time. Like what influences us in that is something that we don't necessarily always have control over.
Nice one, Bob. I like the way you said that. And it's true, because we are these vessels and we are these beings here on earth. And I think the more I learn to quieten my mind, the better able I am to channel, to work, to create, because then the inside noise is lessened, meaning the distractions, the negative programming, because all of that we have to shut out. Growing up as kids, we've been exposed to so much mental limitation from those before us, and we don't blame them. I mean, my parents, my grandparents, they, a lot of our elders grew up in times that were not as free and as liberal and as global and as universal as the times we're living in. And so what we have to do is we have to acknowledge those previous mindsets as belonging to previous generations and say, actually, this is my lifetime, this is my experience, and I need to rid myself of all that mental limitation if I'm going to get anywhere, or if I'm going to make my dreams come true. So the quiet meditation for me, or like the silencing of the mind for me, helps me to stay balanced. It helps me to stay clear as a channel, as a creative, because I want the arts that I create. This goes back to, like, even when I was doing poetry, the writings that I write, the art that I create primarily serves to heal and serve me. And then what happened,
so it started like that, but is it still like that?
Partly.
This is also the thing I'm dealing with at the moment, is that whole thing of how much art do you create just for yourself, and how much do you create for the audience?
It's for me and the world. It's for me and the world. And that's a really good topic, because the better I take care of myself, the better I am at creating. For example, like if I were a person who took drugs, or like who had little order or little discipline in life, I wouldn't expect to go far, in that the way I treat this gift and the way I treat my skill and my craft, it will reciprocate. I mean, the universe will reciprocate. And so developing a disciplined mindset and disciplined living for me is just best, because I'm better able to receive those things that I want. I'm more conscious, I'm more present, I'm more aware, and I'm in the receiving mode.
You're very thoughtful. Like, it seems like, I get why the quietening of the mind thing is probably important to you, because it seems like you do have a lot of thoughts. Like, you do have a lot, like, going on at any time. And then, so what's prayer like then for you? Is that where you're actually discussing, like, the stuff that's on your mind, and that's like...
So prayer for me is like a conversation, or like a two-way affirmation stream, where everyone has their own belief system, and I respect that. Personally, I've been raised Christian. I also expanded into my own spiritual zone, where I just do what works for me. I
read some of the stuff you put up online. I'm like, I see that there's you're not one to just be a stickler for just one idea or one ideology. You do try and encompass as many different things.
Because I believe there's truth in everything, man.
That's kind of what I was saying with we're extensions of older ideas, essentially. And a lot of the religious ideas cross over in a lot of ways, and a lot of the time, I mean, it's comes from the same place in some places, and also even when it's in different places, it still comes from the same place.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's the same thing in a different language.
Exactly.
And then we fight for what? So yeah, man, prayer for me, I've been raised Christian, so prayer for me is communicating with God, or the source, or the creator, or my higher self. And also as an African, as a being, as a universal being, communicating with my ancestors is very important too. I always feel
Yeah,
the
I
love.
feel like if I communicate to my ancestors, they'll just tell me to take more land.
So yeah, man, I just feel like communicating, because energy never ends. It never runs out. It changes form, as we know. So speaking to love for me is the binding power. You know, if I wasn't spiritual, I'd just be a lover of love, essentially. So prayer time for me is important to give thanks. That's what I teach the kids. That's what I teach my daughter. It's just it's a focus on gratitude for me. That's what prayer is. It's sitting down, whether it be the morning, the night, whatever, and just being like, thank you,
Yeah.
universe, I'm alive.
Yeah, see, I've got
Yeah.
I've got a gratitude journals, which is kind of like a similar thing.
So
where
that's
like,
my focus in prayers, mainly gratitude, and then meditation, quietening of the mind, mental discipline, emotional discipline. Yeah.
okay. And how does that discipline translate then to your work? Like, or do you
Yeah.
find yourself very disciplined when it comes to your work?
You know what? Like, I feel like I live a very dual life, not only as a Gemini, but as an independent artist who manages herself.
Yeah,
So
and who has other side hustles, which we'll get into.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely, because there's my creative self, Bob, who's very, like, my creative self is freer, you know, and more fun, more laid back, I don't know, but very disciplined at the same time. And then I have to be my manager self.
yeah.
And my manager self is like, we've got admin to do. You've got emails to reply. You've got media lists to update, you know?
All the independent artists listening right now are just like, yep.
And it's funny because some kids, I was having this issue with, like, in the process of my EP 22 coming out soon, I
It's
also
gonna be
had that
February
awakening.
next year.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm planning on doing. And I had that realization along the way where young kids nowadays who get into music, a lot of them just think it's glam, it's glitz, it's fun, it's getting lit. But let me tell you, if you're serious about
It's
your work,
work.
there's so much work that goes into it, you know? And so for me, having to find that balance as an independent artist, I do need a manager now. I can rightfully say this. For years, I prided myself on having never had a manager, and always having worked on a system of mentorship. You know, I've had people mentor me, which has been brilliant because I'm a great student. I love listening and I love absorbing.
And you've also had some pretty cool people around you.
Absolutely.
So you've learned from like some of the biggest people,
best,
like,
man.
and some of the just people who've been at it for a while as well.
Yes, I've been mad blessed to be exposed to people like that. But yeah, I finally have come to a point where I do need help. I do need a manager, and my staunchness, something inside of me is like, this person has to do more than what I do. You know, it's no use getting someone doing what I do, because
Exactly.
then it's what's that, a placeholder?
Well, yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like, you get those people who, want to be managers, like they're friends with an artist, and then they're like, I'll manage you, bro. And like, people have asked me to do it for them before, and I'm just like, I'm not going to be a manager because I fucking hate admin work.
Absolutely.
Like,
and management is a hell lot of admin.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm like Erica by doing that. I love admin. I love admin. I like seeing a good Excel sheet come to life.
Oh, God, no, thank you.
But it's getting too much, Bob. I'll be honest. I'll be mad honest. It's getting a lot right now. And people are like, why haven't you done this yet? Why haven't you done that yet? And there's just so much that's piling up right now, leading up to the release of the EP, that I do need help. And I won't say too much, but I will
You
say
got
that
someone
in
you're
the
talking to?
last week, the universe has provided someone who is amazing. So
'Cause
we're having those
Also, the
chats.
key is finding someone who believes in you, like, properly.
Yes.
Like, not just like wants to make money off you, but actually wants to see you shine. Like,
I'm so happy you're saying that, because we face that challenge in our music industry within
constantly.
South
There's
Africa,
there's
in
so
the
many
whole
people
world.
that the only thing they're looking at is dollar signs.
Yes,
Like,
which is the objectification of the artist. Like,
Exactly.
don't objectify me. I'm not a thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a person.
But do you feel like the commodifying of art, as well, it makes you money, which is necessary, it is also bastardization? Like,
Yes, it brings me back to that first thing I said, which is self-work is my primary work.
Yeah.
And for anybody who works with artists, you have to acknowledge that this person is a person.
yes.
before they are an artist. And if they are not in a good space as a person, there's nothing you can do to get the music in check. I mean,
I wish people had heard you say this like 60 years ago.
Dude.
Like, you look at the history of like the music industry, it's the exact opposite of what you've said.
Right?
Like,
I know of labels that like essentially don't care that their artists have drug problems
No, it
or
sells
that
more
their
records.
artists don't have a place to sleep, and they're just like, let's get in studio.
yeah,
let's
once
push,
again,
here's a bottle.
those stories sell more, like, sell more records.
Yeah.
Like,
And like, can I swear on here?
yes.
I'm just like, fuck that. Because we are people, man. We are people. We are whole people.
And
And
you think like how many artists
Yes.
wouldn't have died, like, if
Yeah.
if their management cared more, if they
Yeah.
like if the people around them like weren't just trying to milk them for
Yes.
everything they had, like, because that's, you look at people like Amy Winehouse is the one that like really comes to
Yes.
mind first there. She had a lot of people taking advantage of her, like,
Yeah.
and
Brenda Fassie, our
Brenda
very
Fassie
own.
is, there you go, that's a huge one. I mean,
Yeah.
just the Summer Weekend special is so depressing, like it's
Yeah.
so incredibly depressing, and it feels good when you like you play it, but yeah, and I mean, you just look at how management and the people above them do just take advantage,
Yes.
because you can sell these stories, especially like even the glamorization of drugs and alcohol and stuff
Yes.
like that, but not in the party way, but even in that tragic way.
Yes.
That's a sale point.
Yeah.
Like, like an artist having a tragic like death
Yeah.
is a sale point, and also you can then sell their music forever and never have to pay them for it.
Yo, man, that's crazy.
Like, I think a lot of the time, like, there is some evilness when it comes to like record labels and management and stuff, and that like they
Yeah.
don't really care if an artist
Yeah.
lives or dies, like so much as how much money they can make out of
Yeah.
them. Like,
And Bob, we're living in a very beautiful time, because you mentioned something earlier, and I want to touch on that, on expansion, because there's a whole lot of expansion that's happening right now, and I want you to know that there's also production houses and people and artists and managers who are on the flip side of the spectrum who do care.
yeah.
And just I was at home for a week, and like cosmically and spiritually,
Home for you is Durban.
Durban,
yes.
yeah. So cosmically and spiritually, I've been feeling mad expansion. And for those who follow like cosmic readings, Mercury was in retrograde. That's Virgo and Gemini. It's our ruling planet, and it leads communication on the planet. So when Mercury's in retrograde, sometimes you'll find a lot of stagnation, a lot of difficulty in communication, and you'll also find that some of our tech products and our equipment fucks out. Like, it's real.
I need to actually observe this. Like, when I can.
It's real. So like Mercury just came out on the 5th or the 6th of December, and it's free flowing again. So what that means for us is that a lot of things that were kind of almost held back on our free flowing, and like my people and I, my friends and I who are on the similar frequency, we can feel that shit at an alarming rate.
So
and
for you now, is it like strike while the iron's hot kind of like thing?
like this my season.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. Like the floodgates are opening, I can feel it. And then, so when I was at home, and I don't watch the news, I find it really like, sorry, but it doesn't do me so good. I'm an empath.
Yeah, the thing is, I get so caught up in it. Like, I used to avoid it for the longest time, but now that I'm a radio, like,
Yeah.
I have to read the news. Like, I have to stay up to
I
date with
understand.
everything.
And
like,
it is needed for certain things. I
It's
certainly
just,
agree.
It hurts though. Like, it really
Yeah.
does. Like, and it's also, it's just so much depressing shit. Like,
Yeah.
and when you do look at the world around you, and you do look at what you're doing immediately around you, it's positive. It's great. The world's a beautiful, wonderful
reality
place.
versus reality, dude. Yeah, because reality is something we make and create, and it's so subjective. And for somebody else to step into my realm and step into my world and say this is reality, I find that rather daunting. It's like, no. Who are you to say this is my life?
Also, this is a subsection of reality that we want to show
Exactly.
you to get reactions out of you for whatever reason it is.
And I understand the purpose, like the dual-fold purpose of news. Number one being to inform,
Yeah,
which I
ideally.
totally understand. But the second agenda I'm not for, which is to breed fear.
Yes.
And that's my issue, because the moment you can get people scared, you lower their vibration, and then they stop trying and stop doing anything because they're too scared to even try.
Yep.
So that's what I don't like about the news. But I saw something amazing in the news. So I was at my grandparents' house, and I was busy doing something, and they watched the news, and there was this astrophysicist on the news, and it was so dope hearing it
Do you
from
know
us.
which one?
No, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I literally just passed.
Okay.
And he said something so profound that just confirmed what I'm feeling, but in a scientific way. You know, he said, we don't know how to explain it, but the universe is just expanding at an alarming rate right
Yep.
now. I'm like, yes, I knew it.
It's in line with what you were
With
going
everything that I'm feeling and going through, because everything natural must evolve. You know, whether it's plants, animals, people, and we as people are going through this beautiful transcendence in our mind space. You know, like obviously from 2012, things manifest quicker. The polarity becomes a little bit more extreme.
I definitely think
Yeah.
we're living in a strange time in that, like, we still have archaic ideas
Yeah.
up against futuristic ideas.
all at the same time.
Yeah.
Mad
Like,
crazy.
if you're on Twitter, it can be the 1600s
Yes.
and it can be 2100.
all at the same time.
Yeah.
It is mad. It is crazy. So then I think what discerns us in our pace of manifestation and our pace of evolution is desire. Like, I feel like those who desire to grow will grow. Those who desire to stagnate will stagnate. And sometimes it's sad because
I
we
don't
do it
know.
unconsciously.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I don't know if anyone desires to stagnate. I think, like you were saying, fear, like, I think social conditioning, I think, you know, people around you not believing in you.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people get held back by their environment.
Yes.
Like, and I mean, for myself, it's like a mental environment almost. You
Yes.
know, like, I like have a lot of self-doubt, and I
Yes.
like don't necessarily try as hard in certain things because I'm worried that I'm gonna
Yes.
fail and no one's gonna like me and all of those
Fear
things.
of rejection.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a strong one. There's a beautiful spiritual teacher I listen to online. Well, I haven't listened to her in a while, but her name is Teal Swan, and she talks a lot about
Teal Swan.
Teal, yeah,
So
Swan.
like a color swan.
Yeah,
Like,
she's also a Gemini. Whoop whoop. And she's amazing. She talks about the fear of rejection. She talks about healing the emotional body. All these really dope things, because we have to heal in our process of evolving. We have to heal. And yes, I totally agree with you, dude. Like, I am no different. I have to, and I've had to still overcome doubts. It's something that we all face.
especially as an artist, you're putting
Yeah.
yourself out there. It's
Yeah.
one of those things that's so like, as much as I don't want to care how my art is received, I
Yeah.
do care. Like, and that's something now I'm trying to remove. I really am. I'm trying to like
Yes.
remove the reactions from what I'm doing. Like,
Yes.
I don't. However you react is how you react. It
That's
it shouldn't bother me, but it has been bothering me for
Yes.
a longest time, and I never used to. So I'm in that weird space at the
Yeah.
moment of trying to get back to not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
But
I read this dope book called The Power of Kabbalah.
okay.
And apparently, my baby daddy was telling me the other day, the translation of Kabbalah is the art of receiving, which I didn't know. He studied like some
I was gonna say,
Hebrew in that.
Wasn't that a thing that Madonna?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. A lot of successful people have studied Kabbalah, and this book I read a couple of years ago on The Power of Kabbalah was on how to be more proactive as opposed to reactive, because we need to learn to not let those things bother us. Like, for example, I don't know who I was talking to the other day. It was an artist. Somehow I find myself, I have this multifold nature where not only am I a creator, but I also have some healing aspects, you know, and I attract people with healing vibes because that's just part of my nature, I guess. But what I was saying to the person, to the artist, Bob, is that we need to learn to detach ourselves from the outcome. You know, especially as artists, we're so sensitive. And here's the thing, our extra sensitivity is a twofold power for us.
Yep.
We're extra sensitive enough to voice and express,
And so
what
other
it is
people
we're
can
feeling.
relate to it as well,
Yes.
because you're expressing thoughts that they already have
Yes,
as well. Because
but maybe don't
this
have
is
direct
universal.
access or can't
Yeah.
word it,
Exactly.
you know, or can't put it in a picture or can't spray paint it. And so our extra sensitivity as artists, it works for us in two ways, in that we're able to connect with our feelings and ourselves, and thus relate and help others relate. But the difficult thing of being extra sensitive is learning when to detach, you know,
Yeah.
when to switch off, and when
That's
to
so-
say, I will not let this get me. Because, for example, I don't remember which artist it was, but they released something, and I remember, and they were really down, dude. Like, I met this person on the day, and they were lit, and they were like, yeah, I released the thing, I did that, this is happening, I'm like, dude, you just released an album. Take a moment, clap hands for yourself, you know? Like, this is a huge thing. You've manifested something from an idea to a physical. Stop for a moment.
But they had ideas of how it would be received.
Yes.
And it wasn't the same. I mean,
Yes.
I've done the same thing. I've literally done the same thing so many
We've
times
all
with
done
my
that,
stuff.
Bob.
Like,
And what we have to do, I think, to maintain the self-work and maintain a better mind space is stop for a moment and appreciate and give thanks, because we live in such a fast-paced world where music comes out at a fast rate. It's infinitely and instantly available online. We need to just stop every now and again and appreciate ourselves and appreciate what we've done, you know, and
regardless of the response.
Yes, be compassionate to ourselves. One day, I was in a bus and I was sitting next to a lady who used to be a sex worker, and she taught me one of the most valuable lessons ever. Like, she just started talking to me. This is like 4 years ago. She just started talking to me, and she was telling me how she's mending her relationship with her son and how she's getting her life back in order. And she taught me one powerful lesson. She said, if there's anything I can teach you, be compassionate. She said, be compassionate with others, be compassionate with yourself, because sometimes it's our self-talk and our inner voice that fucks us over.
Yep.
You know, and it's because we've taken those voices from other people. Dude, I've been through so much judgment myself. Don't think I didn't go through it. My mom.
No, even like, okay, well, I was going to say, because you're like a very sexually open person when it comes to just online and in your music and everything. So how was that received by your family, and has that been a thing that people have, like, because I can imagine that's probably the target point for a lot of people, considering how conservative South Africa is, that you being so body positive, being so sex positive would probably draw the most ire. But maybe I'm wrong there, I don't know.
No, you're right. That was a challenge for me. My mom is very liberal. Like, she's been a blessing for me twofold, once again. Good and bad.
Trust me, I know.
But the best, in that I've been raised by a very liberal mom, and I thank God for her. She's amazing. She's so liberal. She always just let me be myself. Where we began to clash was... Okay, I've always loved music. I've always wanted to be a performer. I've always been a performer as a kid, you know. And
you started out with poetry, but
yeah,
we'll actually talk about that
no
just
problem.
now.
And then my biggest challenge with my mom is like now the evolving into the mom and adult role, because a lot of our families have these pre-expectations and preconceptions as to what being an adult or being a mom is and what it involves, you know. And I'm out here being a conscious creator, being like, no. I'm gonna write my own story. I'm going to be my own person, and whoever I am, my daughter has chosen me, and we're going to ride this together. You know, that's my take. And before then, people were like, no, but you're grown now. You must stop the music thing. You must... Dude, my mom and I had a huge fight before I came up this time. And that Wendy Lim saw me, you know, the skater?
Yeah, I love Wendy. Yes.
I love Wendy. I just had a conversation with him 2 days ago, and we were having the same conversation. He was saying... One of his skaters that he mentors is about to go pro. And he was saying like there's also a lot of challenges that this person has been facing and you know, a lot of things. And we were having that conversation, and I was saying, you know, Wendy, the breaking point and the breakthrough is so congested, because the universe will test you to the utmost in this last breaking point as you break this glass ceiling, and as I evolve into this being that I've always wanted to become, you know, the universe will be like, do you really want to do this? And so I've faced some of the most challenging things in the last 3 months.
Well, stuff like your mom doing that obviously does come from a place of concern and care, but they don't necessarily get it, I guess, like, because they haven't had the same opportunities, it's not the same environment, it's not the same anything.
And we don't have the same desires, goals, beliefs and dreams. And that's something I need to let artists know as well, is that your dream is your dream. We can't expect, even our parents or those closest to us, we can't expect them to carry our dreams with as much enthusiasm or as much belief. This is our dream. Like, you'd be
And also,
lying
your dream
to
doesn't have
yourself.
to be the same dream as someone else's. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people get caught up in the whole thing of just, that's like they want to be AKA, they want to be Casper,
Yes.
they want to do that. But they don't get, you can have your own dream.
Yes.
You can literally, like, you know, like, especially for me, like with comedy and stuff, I see the paths in South Africa of where to go. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't really want to do that. Like,
Exactly.
I'm going to just, let me go around here.
Do
let me do
you.
that. Let me do that instead. Because you don't have to do it the same way
Yes.
other people do it. You don't have to have the same, you know, goals. You don't have to want to be on the same stages. Like,
Absolutely.
you can have a completely unique dream that's completely your own.
I mean, Moonchild is a wonderful example of that.
Yeah, Moonchild's amazing.
You know, I mean, my friends and I, we have those discussions, and we look at each other, and we look at our different paths and the different opportunities that are open to us, and we say and we see truly that, like, hey, everybody's path is so unique, you know. So there's no time for comparison. There's no time for jealousy. Because if you lose the plot, if you're distracted by other people's goals, like, you're robbing yourself of your truly unique experience.
Amen to that. Man, I didn't know like just how dope this conversation would be. Like, I knew we were gonna have a fun one, but because I mean I've chatted to you a few times over the years now, and like we chatted on Deba
Yes.
and like, you know, and I've just gotten to know you a little bit like
Yeah.
since then, and like I just
Sorry.
love your vibe in general, but didn't know. Like I had an inkling that you thought a lot about stuff.
Thank
and
you.
This is one of those things. So is that been a thing you've always had? Is that how you got into poetry and stuff? Was the need to express your thoughts in a
I've
creative
always
way?
been. Jeez.
When did you start writing poetry?
I started writing the moment I became literate, like literally 6 years old.
Cool.
My mom said before then I would freestyle in song.
Wow. So you've literally always just had this need to
Express. And that's what my first tattoo is about. Like the fetus on the back connected, like a mic connected to the cord. That's what my very first tattoo is about. And I got that in Durban, there downstairs from Origin. There used to be a tattoo shop
I
there.
remember. Actually, yeah, one of my friends, Manette, she used to work there. She's now moved on. I can't remember where she is now, but she's somewhere in the world.
Yeah, so my very first tattoo
Trying to remember
says
who worked
Born
there.
to Express. It was a guy, I can't remember.
Yeah, I know. There was those two guys, and then
I think he
I
had long hair, I can't remember.
just can't remember their
Yeah.
names. But anyway,
So my very first tattoo is about that, man. It's about expression. It's that we're born to express. We're born with a message. We're born to, you know, don't voice in. Don't keep it in. We have so much. And once you see self as a channel and a vessel, you begin managing your energy and your thoughts and your food and things differently, you know, because some people say, simple things, you know, like, Lex, how do you stay well trimmed or like physically fit? That's a simple one, and it just boils down to energy management. Your energy out should balance your energy in. You know, as much as you eat, you should be using those kilojoules, something like that, you know. Or how do you stay light energy? You know, the moment you start stressing or you start overthinking, once you become sensitive enough to your body, you feel that heaviness, and you begin to think less of those thoughts, because when you're one with your body, you can feel your energy change. You can feel a thought entering and shift your whole sense of being in your energy, and you're like, oh no, I shouldn't think that.
see, I don't know how to do the. I don't know how to like. See, for me, like those things creep in, and I know they're coming.
Yeah.
And it's just like, cool, let's buckle in and go right down.
Sometimes we do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think
I don't know. It gets me pretty down and makes me like pretty
you're
hateful
right.
sometimes.
No,
but, yeah.
you're right. I think the best thing for me is to become observer. Like, to learn to become observer, you know, not get so caught up in it, but sometimes step out and be like, I am having this experience.
Yeah.
I am in a low space, but you know what? I'm gonna be okay tomorrow. Sometimes I don't even answer my phone.
It's that I'm gonna be okay tomorrow thing that I need to add on to my like stuff. Yeah.
Right? Because we all go through and they're called biocycles. You know, not only do women go through monthly cycles and
men
things,
do as well.
people go
Yeah.
through cycles, and we go through ups, we go through downs. And part of my learning and growing, because I'm in a beautiful space right now, what part of the things that I'm learning is that the duality is beautiful. And one of my spiritual teachers, Abraham Hicks, I listen a lot to her. Like, she says, out of contrast is born the clarity of desire. In other words, when we experience something or see something that we don't like or feel something that we don't like, it enables and empowers us to be more clear on what we
What you
do
do
like
like,
and what we
yes.
do want, you know. So that's mad powerful. So for example, I just went through like a 1 month relationship and you know, a trial period. Try the homie out.
Didn't work.
But like while I was in that relationship, I found myself having to answer him and like, I don't know, explain things, and it became draining, you know, because the person wasn't seeing me. They weren't seeing my intentions. They thought I was trying to be like mean or trying to like I don't know, they just didn't read my intentions for what they really were. And I remember having experienced this in the past long ago with a relationship.
And you knew that
and
wasn't
I
what you
remember
wanted.
it's a draining process. It's a draining process to always have to justify oneself, one's actions, you know, and be like, no, I was actually trying to do this. No. We're too grown. The relation, like, things are flowing. We need people who can flow with us.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. You're gonna flow with me, or I don't want people to stagnate me. I don't want people to question my motives and intentions. If you love me, you love me. You know who I am. You know what my mission is on this earth. There's far more important things to do than worry about internal bullshit.
And
you
is
know?
that like with both with fans and with relationships? Then I guess like people
Yes.
can like, and that's, I guess people do get to really know you through your music as well. Like
Yes.
you're very open, you're very honest.
There's
so
that duality. There's that, hey, I'm a deep thinker and I'm spiritual, but I'm also crazy and lit and I'm gonna wild out and jump on your table sometimes. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's the balance. That's me. And just going back to that, what I wanted to say is that I hope I didn't lose my train of thought.
Oh,
But-
sorry.
No, it's fine. But the trying out and the things like that is what we where
Sorry,
were
well,
we?
so what you were saying there was with that guy, you had the trial period and you knew before, like you'd experienced similar things before.
Yes.
And you knew that wasn't for you.
Yes. So back to essentially the whole reprogramming and moving forward and finding things that are good for us. I mean, if you have an inkling of an idea or a feeling, the contrast.
Yes.
So having gone through it before, I knew this is not the sort of relationship I wanted. And it was only 1 month into the relationship.
Well, it's a
and
good
we
time
were-
to figure that out.
Yeah, and we were having those challenges where we weren't seeing eye to eye. He's gone away, so it's been a lot of communication online and talking. And there were days when he just wouldn't talk. And I was like, no, universe, I don't want this. And then at that point, you see, law of attraction is if we focus on what we don't want, we're going to keep getting what we don't want. So it's the same with our thoughts and everything else. So at that exact moment, I have to flip the script and be like, actually, universe, what I do want is someone who can flow with me. I do want someone who can grow with me, someone who accepts me for who I am in my artist self, in myself, in my expressive self, knowing there's going to be photo shoots where I'm like, you know, hella exposed, knowing I attract a lot of people, I have a lot of love. I want a relationship like that, someone who understands.
Has that been an issue with guys that you've dated in the past? 'Cause-
Partly, they've, you know, once again bring us back to that trial period
Yeah.
to say, let's vibe, let's see. And I can, like, when I pick up some possessive or untrusting things, then I kind of want to leave it because this is my
You don't want
work.
to, you're not a possession.
Yeah,
Like,
this is my work. This is my calling. I'm still a person. I'm still a human. I'm still a lover. I'm still a mom. And one day I'll be someone's wife. And it doesn't mean that because I'm all out there that I don't have morals, dude. Our morals differ.
yeah, but
We have
also
different
morality.
yeah.
I don't think morality has anything to do with the way you present yourself in photos.
Yeah.
Like-
And some people...
Like you can get naked.
Yeah.
Fuck it, it's got nothing to do
my
with
heart.
morality.
Like, I've been raised knowing that God judges me by my heart. You know, I've been raised knowing greater is she or he within than she or he without. I've been raised on the Bible. Like, I know those principles and they work for me.
yeah,
like,
but the Bible also doesn't have anything against nudity.
you know, we're African, we're natural. Where does the sense of shame in our bodies come from?
That would probably be the Catholic Church,
Right?
from, you know,
Right?
the early.
But I won't
couple
get all
hundred-
anti.
No,
But
no,
like,
you don't have to. I'm just
yeah,
saying,
'cause-
like, but that
'cause-
is where it comes from.
And I'm
is-
glad you raised that thing about being body positive and being free in my expression of being a sexual
Well, it's
being.
it's one of the things that like I appreciate the most about you.
Yeah.
Is like I think it's so important for people like you and like, you know, to be role models
Yeah.
to others, to show people that it's not a fucking issue.
It's
like,
not, dude.
Like it's the issue is that we are repressed. The issue
Yes.
is that women for so long have been at like, you know, the whims of men, have had their sexuality
Yes.
controlled by men. And it's such a like I'm loving this current age because how much better is sex when both people are enjoying it and like are both
and
expressing
take
themselves
ownership.
and yes, like
yes.
I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a crazy thing like that. We have just, women have been so controlled and so,
Yeah.
I mean, men have also in other ways, but like we've mostly been the ones
Yeah.
doing the controlling, like through the patriarchy and maybe not directly as individuals, but also as individuals through the patriarchy.
Socio-political
So-
systems as well,
Exactly.
dude. Yeah.
But so that's why, like, I love what you're doing. I love what Moonchild's doing and stuff. And, you
Yes.
know, I'm sure she's getting a lot of flack.
Yes.
Like, but at the same time, it's fucking important. And I think it is actually going to have a positive impact long term.
Absolutely. And you know, Bob, it's based on self-love for me. Like, it's based on self-love. I love myself, dude. And it's so important that we each love ourselves because the standard of love that we establish will be the standard of love that we attract. You know, so if I like love myself conditionally, you know, and judge myself more than loving, that means I'm going to attract somebody who's going to judge me also. And I'll accept it because it's what I know.
Yeah.
But my whole attitude towards myself and what I reflect with others, just on the notion of self-love, is that I'm learning myself. You know, as I grow, I can never put a full stop to who I am, dude. Like, I'm learning myself every single day. I know I have desires and dreams, and I don't know all the time how I'm going to reach them. But my belief that they exist and that I'm out to manifest them has them manifesting. And oh, I've got so many thoughts. They're swimming under my head. But yeah,
Maybe you need to meditate a little.
yeah, right. All this traveling and things. So yeah. So essentially, I haven't put a full stop on learning who I am, and I feel like so many times, even in relationships, we do that to each other. We say, "This is the person I met, and I expect you to be like this your whole fucking life."
And that's impossible. Like,
That's crazy because I'm open to evolving.
yeah, that's what I love. Like, so, like, Paige and I have been together for 4 years now.
Yeah, she's a
And
beautiful being, by the way.
She is, in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. It's been a roller coaster, you know, but we've both grown and we've changed. We're both very different people to when we first started.
Yes.
Our core essence is still the same. Like,
Beautiful. I love that you say that because there is that eternal part of us.
yeah, I mean, I think, like, unless you go through some very hectic stuff, you essentially tend to be, you have your core driving principles throughout your life, but you add and subtract and, you know, stuff like that.
Yes.
But yeah, between her and I, like, it's been this phenomenal journey, and it has been hard at times, but we have also just grown so much. And that's what I agree with you there, where it's the thing of, like, you can't expect someone to be the same person they were even 6 months ago.
Yes.
Like, we have new experiences, we
Yes.
have new information, we have
Yes.
new everything, so
And
we're
those-
constantly going.
and-
Actually,
yeah.
sorry,
No, it's fine.
there's a one, I think I might have mentioned this podcast before, but there's this one thing that I saw the other day, and it's super cheesy, but I really liked it, where it was like, a man cannot walk into a river twice because like both the man and the river are different. Yeah,
What?
like
Yes.
neither the man or the river are the same.
That is so true. That is so true. That's so true. And that same freedom to evolve that we place on ourselves and our relationships, we need to place on our careers and our callings. You know,
Sure.
because I remember as Lexicon from 2004 to 2012, when I evolved with my sound and my growth, a lot of people were like, "What are you doing? You know, now you're having fun." Now,
Someone's having fun nearby. I can
Someone's
smell it.
oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yeah. And there was a lot of external pressure.
So with Lexicon, was that like more conscious, more
Yes.
like?
And it reflects where I was at the time.
Yeah.
I was going through my first conscious awakening. I was I had thrown out a lot of my core beliefs at the time, and I was just doing a spring clean. I'm like, wait. Let me see what I really believe in. Let me see what really resonates with who I am, as opposed to just taking what people have given me. Let me just see who I am in all this, you know? So there was that happening. I was at university. So obviously
You
things were
studied
becoming
psych,
more
right?
psych and philosophy. Yeah, I was a lot more academic. I was learning a lot more. So there was a lot of rapid intellectualism happening and spiritual evolvement.
So that
at the
was
same
reflected
time.
in your art.
Of course. So my art was that at the time, which is beautiful because that's where I was. And now that I'm over 30, you know what happens when you're 30? You fortify more. You're more self-convicted. It's so beautiful.
It really is. Like,
It's amazing. You give less fucks.
but it's weird. Like, this year has been kind of the opposite of me. I've regressed a little bit,
Okay.
but I also am a bit more, like, my self-surety doesn't come from a place of projection anymore. It comes from actually being confident. Like when I am confident about something, it's because I'm like, no, you actually are good at this. You do know what you're doing and stuff like that. Whereas before it would be a projection of, I'm good at this. I know what I'm doing.
Now it's more real.
So that's why I think the self-doubt's probably more real as well, because the self-doubt is based on reality. Like, it's based on things that I know I'm weak at. Like, so it's just I got to turn those weaknesses around.
Can I tell you something? And like another thing, Abraham Hicks says, dude, she's amazing. Like another thing she says is that sometimes we get so fucked over. Well, she doesn't use those words, but sometimes we get so fucked over by what is presently and currently around us as reality. We forget that what is presently and currently around us is a manifestation of what we were thinking 6 months ago or a year ago.
Yeah, we've put yourself along the path.
Yes. So in order to manifest more beautiful experiences and more desired experiences, remember, the bank is now. Like, we're putting thoughts and images and visualizations and feelings
and you're gonna get that interest
into the bank now.
like in
Then yes,
so it's like a fixed deposit account.
Absolutely, that's it. Because let's not be so mad at what is happening now, because it's what we wanted then, but our desires have changed. So be like, okay, cool, thanks universe, this is nice, let's see how I can add to it, you know. So I remember finding myself in some situations where I'd be like, how the flip did this manifest? And I'd be like, oh, I wanted
You just thought
this.
back a little bit.
I asked for this was me. You know?
And like, yeah, what's that thing about getting what you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's both, like, Oscar Wilde said something about, like, it's both the best and worst thing. Like,
So
you're
like,
you're definitely better at remembering quotes than I am.
on what?
At remembering quotes.
Oh.
Like, you'd be getting all your quotes like spot on, and I'll just be like,
And funny,
kind of around there.
they audio, yeah. So I like listening to audio things. Now, just back to being 30, right? And being self-convicted and harnessing one's self-power. That's what my new EP 22 is all about.
Why is it called 22?
Sure. So my birthday is on the 22nd of May, and the Beatmaker's birthday is on the 22nd of November. And I'd always wanted to name something 22 because in my study of numerics, I discovered 22 is a power number, 11, 22, 33. Even in Freemasonry, 11, 22, 33. 33 is the highest, but then 22 is the master number. Okay. So like,
I need to read up on this stuff. Like, I've never learned about any of this really. So I'm just like, all this information you're giving me, I'm going to go and try and find out more about it afterwards.
It's chilled, and the information's out there. It's infinite. We have Google nowadays. They tried to keep this info from us back in the day. Now we're like, fuck you, motherfucker. I'm going to go online. I'm going to empower myself. I'm going to make shit work. Yeah, you know?
Like, because that's the thing. I mean, the printing press was such a beautiful thing when it was created, but it was still controlled so much.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing with music. Like,
dude, there were books that I've read that I research and see they were banned for a certain number of years. And it's all on self-power.
Wow.
All of it.
Because it was going against the religious, like, people at the time.
Control of
like,
power.
Yeah.
You know, and what that has done as a byproduct is it's made people less inclined to think for themselves because, you know, the control of power was like, no, don't worry, the macro system will think for you.
But that's the thing.
Adverts will think for you.
Do you think people want that though? Like, as a society, do you not think a lot of us want to outsource a lot of our thinking? Like, maybe not you personally, but, you know, when I look around, it does seem like some people, you know, might want that. Because it makes life easier.
It's certainly an assistance.
Yeah.
It's certainly an assistance to have direct access to previous and corresponding ideas. It's certainly an assistance, but I don't think we should rely on external information too much to the point where we're not using our own minds. You know, like, let's meet that information halfway.
But how do you know that you're using your own mind and you're not just using, like, the stuff that you've been told?
Right.
Like, because you're only as open to the ideas as you've been exposed to.
That's a good question.
Like, you know, if you've never heard these other ideas, they could never influence your life.
That's very true. I'm going to leave that one there because I don't know the answer and you've left me thinking. Cool. I think that one's an eternal one.
Cool. I'm glad that I could give you something to walk away with.
Definitely. So just back to 22. So I found out it's a power number. And within myself, I'm now 31. Like, from the moment I turned 30, my friends had told me that 30 is a powerful age, but I didn't know until I got here and just felt so different.
Yep.
And so 22 for me musically it's different, Bob. There's 4 original songs and 2 remixes, and Otterell from Durban is featured on there. Imagine we know each other for over 12 years and this is our first collaboration.
Wow. You guys have known each other for 12
Dude,
years.
so the whole time, like, the vibe has been growing.
Yeah.
So even when we're on stage now and we perform together, people are like, yo, you guys zone in together. I'm like, yeah, because this is a 12-year relationship in the making.
Yeah, you're homies.
We're
not like-
homies. Yeah, it's proper. So Otterell is featured on there, as well as Lord Script from Dope Artists. So I've got 2 Durban
I don't
artists.
know Lord Script.
He's more in the trap field. He used to do a lot of crumping. He's
cool.
an award-winning crump dancer.
That was like a big thing in Durban for a while. Yeah.
Yes. So he evolved from a crumper and he traps. He's an artist. He's a rapper. Beautiful being. So Lord Script and Otterell are the only 2 features on there, and they're both from Durban. The beat maker, Marco Benz, brilliant beat maker. He's Congolese. He's based in Johannesburg. He's only 21 years old. He's so fresh.
Wow.
He's amazing. Even how we met was just crazy because I wanted that specific sound that he makes. And somehow we got that sound.
What sort of sound is it, if you can describe it?
So he's a trap kid. You know, the kids who like grow up and that's what they know.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, but that's your earlier stuff was influenced by trap a bit, yeah.
But he's an electro. I'm glad you remember that. 2011 days. Yeah. So what I like about him is he's one of those kids. He's an old soul. He's gone back and he appreciates what makes trap. He appreciates what led up to the making of trap. He appreciates boom bap. He appreciates proper rap. Yeah. So I like those blends of influence, you know. I feel like they're more substantial musically.
Yeah, it's not just he's got the history of the different genres and he knows them, but he's not just going, I'm gonna make a trap song now. He's gonna go, I'm gonna make a trap influenced song now.
So what they do, him and his crew, they do a lot of R&B soul. So
cool.
There's 4 songs. One is called R&B soul, and it features Lord Script.
I was gonna say, I wonder what SoundCloud genres those are gonna go under.
Right. So there's a song called R&B soul. It features Lord Script. There's a song called Dolphins, which features Otterell, and that is just so fun, man. Like that song.
Is the doll in there like meant to be like a play on female, like woman? No.
Not at all.
No, okay.
It's somebody compared it to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's very arb.
Okay.
It's very arb.
Okay, cool.
It's like Ichima. You know Ichima. I'm a motherfucking trendsetter. Keith Ape and these Korean rappers.
I don't know. It's no.
Yeah, Korean, Japanese. It's very arb. So it's fun. It's Lerato and I having fun on a song because I feel like, in hindsight, I see a lot of rappers that are in the front end currently, you know, who are still in their 20s. They're doing a lot of like trying to catch up to the boys, trying to prove themselves. I did that for a long time. Like I proved myself, I'm good. Now I just want to fulfill my desires.
I can imagine now you don't give a fuck.
Dude,
like
I don't
what
give a
the
fuck.
dudes think.
And
like.
it comes out in Dolphins. It comes out in the new EP, you know, where I'm just like, I'm making music that I just feel and resonate with and I'm loving it. So Dolphins is super fun. I sampled an audio for the very first time in my whole life, and it's on Dolphins in the beginning. I sample, you know, Credo Mutwa, the African spiritualist. He did like these interviews with David Icke and all of that. So Credo Mutwa is an African spiritualist and leader. He has this audio on knowledge, like dolphins being the custodians of knowledge.
Okay.
He's very interesting. He speaks on a lot of things, on creativity, on spirituality, on ancestors. He's amazing. He's actually like almost 100 years old now. And
he's still going.
Yeah, cool. So I've sampled him in the beginning of Dolphins, and he says, the Zulu people say, ulwazi luvela olwandle, the knowledge comes from the sea. And then it's just this trappy fun song, you know. And I was speaking to the lady who owns the copyrights to those audios this week, and we've just
they've cleared
we're
it.
in the process
Okay.
now. She's told me exactly what I need to do, and she's so happy
That
that a young
used.
person is bringing this knowledge to the forefront, because I'm very passionate about indigenous knowledge systems, African knowledge, spiritual knowledge. I'm mad passionate about those things, and so there's a sample on there. So there's R&B soul, Dolphins. There's a song called Good Good that has a very Afro.
Good.
Yeah. It has this very Afro beat feel. And then the fourth song.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then there's the song called Trust with me and Marco Benz, the beat maker.
Is that one more of a soulful one?
That one's a little bit more trappy.
Oh, okay.
A little bit more trappy. So there's those 4 original songs, and then Dave Ordinary from Durban, where I was recording.
Dave's the shit, man.
He's done 2 of his own remixes of 2 songs on the EP, because
Oh,
I was
snap.
recording by him.
Because I know,
Durban.
see, that's the thing. I know him as a bit like being good at recording stuff, and that's like
He's
I haven't heard much of his stuff, so
amazing.
that's awesome. I need to hear this.
He's
Because
amazing.
even Jaden was like, yeah, Dave Ordinary, like,
Dave
yeah.
is amazing. He's musical. He's genius. He's passionate. He's dedicated.
What's his recording studio called?
Pardon?
What's his recording studio called again?
Cloud9.
Okay, cool.
I think it's
Just
yeah,
for
Cloud9,
people
he's- I
listening,
think,
yeah.
So he's based in Sydenham, Durban. And what happened is I was between Joburg and Durban because I was based in Durban for the year and a half, and then I would come up for NGO work. I also do some HIV prevention work through sports, arts and culture. And the NGO was here. So I'd come up for a lot of national meetings this side. And then I met the producer here. So I was doing the recordings in Durban, sending them up. So it's been that process. But I'm used to that. Even working with the Nut Scratchers was that. You know, a lot
yeah.
of sending things around. So I recorded by Dave. And then at the end of the whole thing, Dave said to me, Lex, I've never produced anything for you. Can I please do a remix? I was like, wow, I'll be honored, man. And the fact that it came from him, I was really moved because
Yeah.
I like when producers do that. I prefer natural inspiration. I don't like to force people.
Yeah, you know, like it's definitely, that's a way cooler thing. You know, you're going to get almost a more interesting track by him going,
Yes.
because he's listened to the song and gone, I want to remix
Yeah,
that. In
it comes
comparison
from
to you
him.
going, hey, I've got this song, please could you remix
Yeah.
it for me? It might not be the same. It might still be good. It
Yeah.
might still be great, but it won't be the same thing as the idea that he has
Yes.
because he's got an idea
Yes,
about what
when
he wants to
something
do.
moves you,
Yeah.
that's powerful.
Yeah.
And he was moved.
Because he wouldn't ask you if it didn't
Yeah.
have that effect, yeah.
So there's 2 remixes by Dave Ordinary on the EP. Yeah, and that's what 22
Damn, I'm
is
pumped to hear
about.
it. Like-
Thank you. I'm so excited, Bob. Like, I was, yo.
Because
I
Honey
was-
Bass was like, bass, so it was
It's
like,
okay.
like it was dope. Like
Thank
I loved
you.
it. And like, how did that album do for you? Like, why are you
Thank
moving
you.
on so quickly? Because like, also that, like, it feels like you haven't even let the album
Some
breathe and now you're
people
working on
said
something
that,
else.
Bob. Some people were like, dude, you need to push Honey Bass more. You need to, and you know, my philosophy is do as much as you can while you can. And because I don't know what's gonna happen.
So you just
I
want to
just-
get,
I-
you feel the need to make more music
I
and
want to
making it.
release as much as I can while I can. So Honey Bass, beautiful, like a 5-year project come to life. And I didn't plan on creating a new project so quickly.
Okay,
I
'cause-
feel like one of those moms who are like, I didn't plan on having a kid, another kid so quickly.
But it just happened
It
that
just
this other
happened.
kid is now
Like the music
found
brought
you.
it, yes, the producer, the beat maker came to me. There was a sound I was hearing in my mind and hearing on SoundCloud that a lot of early 20-year-olds in the States, in New York, were making, and I resonate with it well because of the feeling. And I was like, yo, I want to make music like this. I want to make music that I feel. You know, I got there now, and I'm like, and then I met Marco, and then next thing we made a song. Next thing I'm like, okay, let me make an EP, and it all just flowed so naturally. I didn't plan it.
But do you not worry about like, you know, the longevity then of Honey Bass and that, like you haven't
given it its time?
yeah, you haven't like milked it essentially, like you haven't let.
You're right.
Like so.
You're right. How that's working out for me now is that I'm now going to put my whole, all 5 of my projects. I'm now going to put my whole catalog online by early next year. I've given myself the
on
first
iTunes
quarter.
or Bandcamp
Yeah.
or- yeah.
So I've given myself until the first quarter next year. With the release of the EP, I want all 5 of my projects. My very first mixtape by Lexicon, Sketches in the Mind. The second one, the Purple Velvet pre-release mixtape. The Hlanganisa mixtape with DJ Duab. Honey Bass, the album, and now 22, the EP. So what I want to do is I want all those to be concurrently
So you wanna
available
push it as a
for
catalog.
people. And I'm going to put that on, yeah. I know, I totally hear you, and it makes sense.
No, it's the traditional way to
Yeah.
do something. You know, you put out an album, you tour it, you know, for like a year.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you just continually try to get that thing out there. So that's why I'm like, it's just interesting. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do this thing. And you know, you release Honey Bass, and like now you're gonna release 22, and you know, people are gonna listen to both. But like, it's just you're not doing the way that everyone else has been doing it. So that's why I was just asking about that.
Hey, I've never done things the way that other people do them. So and 22 I'm very excited about. You know, at first I was super frustrated, I won't lie, because I had the pre-release right here at Once in Joburg where we are. I had the pre-release on the 28th of September, and in my mind the EP was going to be released on that day. And after a lot of swearing, a lot of crying, a lot of frustrating, you know, moments,
it's the music industry, nothing ever happens on time.
And a lot of that I had to let go. There's a lot of peace in letting go. Oh my God. Because like the universe was busy aligning other things for me, so that, and I had a feeling, I had an inkling of an idea. I'm like, you know what? It's like this is happening for a reason, you know?
It's definitely probably better to give it a bit more time though as well, because like, you wanted to release it in September, but now you're going to release it in Feb, May.
I want to release it by Feb. And also...
so that gives you more time now to also market it, to also do stuff like this, to talk about it. Like,
absolutely. I mean, like what we were talking about, Sabelo from OK Africa, he
I'm going to be chatting to him just now.
He asked me to do a concept shoot. He asked if I want to do a photo shoot, you know, around the EP, and he asked to review it. And that for me
so that's worked out so much better than if you had put it out in September.
Absolutely beautiful. Red Bull did an article. Beautiful. It's a build-up for me, and also not only is it a build-up, it's also helping me develop new relationships in the process, which for me is core. It's so vital, it's so important. And if I tell you, Bob, how many other things have aligned in the process, I now have a lot more people waiting for and wanting to get on 22 because it's unreleased. Because remember, business-wise, it's difficult to jump on something once it's out there.
Yeah.
So for people I'm now meeting and connections I'm making both locally and internationally.
So like in terms of distribution and stuff like that?
Everything. Okay. Like people are like, oh, you have a new project coming out? Okay, how can I help? Okay, what can I do? I'm like, oh God, thank you. Okay.
So it's worked out better for you that it didn't happen ideally the way you wanted it originally.
It has, because now I have an unreleased project which is on the verge of being released. And
so you feel like there's a bit of power in that?
Definitely.
I never thought about that.
I didn't see that along the way when I was crying in my room.
But takes a little bit of perspective.
Yeah. So now I'm way more grateful, you know, and it just brings me back to that letting go thing. There's this saying, people say let go and let God. I also have a little joke of mine saying let go and let Mashaya. I don't know if you know Mashaya Bukre.
Yes, I do.
Dude, like, because I don't know if people remember.
Well, he said he's coming out with something completely different. Like
I love him as an artist, as a person. He's from KZN, he's from Durban. Durban people are so innovative. We
have to be.
We are in the front end of innovation and newness, dude. Like, we're amazing. So in fact, one of my new songs with my band Trigo, it's me, Vessel Mayer, and Ruby Gold. We have this new band, but we've released our first single, but we haven't started pushing it majorly yet. It's been signed to
David
Gresham.
You're just doing so many things. Like, because people, like, we haven't even discussed 90% of the stuff you do.
I know. It's okay. And this new song, it's like, in it I go, I come from the East Coast. We've been known to do the most. You come from the North Side, but you got me on my toes. So it's like just that thing of coming from the East Coast, coming from Durban. We do a lot. And like, where that let go and Mashaya thing comes from, my own little funny story, is like at the Sahas a few years ago, I was very, I put my feelings out there when a certain artist won an award for their song, and I felt like they were largely inspired by Mashaya. And after myself and DJ Slick handed them the award at the Sahas, and afterwards, I just went on the mic and I was like, and shout out to Mashaya Bukre for fathering the sound. Because for me, we have to honor the founders, dude. Like the same way Kanye can big up Kid Cudi. You know, if you're afraid to say where you've been inspired from, that's like, it's whack.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, people saw me doing poetry in my comedy, and we're like, that's so great. I was like, yeah, Bo Burnham does it. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
Like, straight up. Like, I saw him doing that. I loved it.
Let's not be
I was
afraid
like, that's
to say
a part.
who
That's in me as well. You know, that's a part of me. But he inspired me doing that. Like,
it's just honor.
Yeah.
It's just decent honor.
Yeah, but it's also, I don't know. Like, for me, it's also like, why wouldn't you just want to do that?
Yes.
Because, like, whatever, no one's going to think less of you.
Exactly.
Like, your art's still great. Doesn't matter if it
and
was
it means you've taken that and you've made it yours.
Yeah.
But like honoring the inspiration for me is just godly. It's divine. So when someone didn't do that, I did that, and apparently they got really, really mad at me.
Did you?
know?
Oh wow! Did you get
They
some flack? Like,
Yeah, half the crowd afterwards were like, "Big up, Lex, big up. You had to say that. Well done." The other half were like, "You shouldn't have said that. That
but there's
person's
always-
in big spaces."
You know what? There's
Well, you
there's
know?
always people who say you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
And you know what? Those people shouldn't say that.
Yes.
Fuck you.
Yes.
Don't ever tell me what I should or shouldn't say. I'm gonna say what I'm
Absolutely.
gonna say, and people
I
are gonna
come from
respond.
hip hop,
Like, yeah.
where we talk.
Yes, exactly. That's literally the whole
This-
entire thing.
You know
but,
what I'm saying?
But you want people. You have people in hip hop saying, "Don't say that."
No. So that let go on Mashaya thing was one day I saw on Twitter that guy, like Mashaya put out a tweet, and he was like, "Me and that person are cool. You know, me and that person are good." So when Mashaya let it go, I was like, I guess I can let go on Mashaya now. I don't have to be mad at that person anymore.
Yeah, 'cause
I mean,
you
I was like, if
definitely-
Mashaya's good, I'm good.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to hold on to that beef like with the guy who's involved. Like, doesn't even have it anymore.
So letting go and Mashaya, let go and let Mashaya, let go and
Let
and,
go,
and
let Mashaya.
Yeah.
I like that.
and just not trying to control shit so much, man, is working for me, because if I mean, we're people, dude, but there's also this stream of consciousness that is flowing through us at all times, that's flowing through everything, that's flowing through nature, that's flowing through life. And if we don't like let go sometimes and let that stream flow, like, we're gonna frustrate ourselves, dude, and it's not worth it.
Amen to that.
Thank
You know what? I think that was we did just over an hour. We discussed so much there. I think people are now going to be pretty pumped to hear 22.
Yay.
And this will be coming out probably in January anyway, so the timing is going to be...
Feb 2019.
This podcast is going to probably drop
perfect.
in Jan, so that's perfect. Because I'm taking this month off for the podcasting.
Yeah.
People listening now, this is happening in December at Joburg. Where are we at? We're
Once in Joburg.
Once in
Bloemfontein.
Joburg. Brilliant hotel, by the way. I have stayed here before, and they've been very kind in letting us use their
They're
space.
amazing. I even had my EP launch here.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Yeah.
Cool. So you got anything else you want the public to know? Like, other than, I don't know, this has been such a cool conversation. Like, I've loved it so much.
Oh,
I can't
met
wait to have you
Jay-Z
back
and
on.
Beyonce.
Did you?
Yeah.
How was that?
The universe is amazing, dude.
Is
I work part-time at the living room in
Yeah, yeah.
Maboneng. I'm actually going to leave and go there now. And like, yo, the universe is too great, man. Like, I'd had a dream about being in the same room as Jay-Z and Beyonce. And all of a sudden, they decided that they're going to have their after party at our spot. And I was just like in awe, like literally shook Jigga's hand. And as like my mom knows, dude, that's my favorite rapper of all time. I've been listening to him from when I was in primary
He's
school.
got some bars. One or two. Pretty good with the wordplay, you know?
So it was really a beautiful honor, and being there, like in the space. Pharrell was there, Pharrell's wife, Charlemagne the God, Jigga, Beyonce's mom, Kelly Rowland. Like I hostess there part time, and we have amazing events there. And I also like am part of the music team there, and dude, when she came out the lift, you know, greeting her.
How did that feel? Like seeing Beyonce like
in
get
real
out-
life in
yeah.
front of me?
Is it a big,
It was
like,
amazing. Her aura is beautiful. She smiles. She's happy. And like, I just feel like my whole life is blessed now. But
Is that it? It's
that
like-
was awesome.
yeah, it's like the Dalai Lama, or not the, like, I don't know, like just someone like that, literally
Yes.
like touching and you're like,
And then one more awesome thing I just like to let people know that is happening and that has happened. Lyricist Lounge. I don't know if you know Lyricist Lounge, that
don't.
was in the 90s. It was a platform that had people like Snoop Dogg, KRS-One, Soul Williams,
snap,
Eminem. Like,
I've
it's
heard
an
of some of them.
amazing platform from the 90s that was running, that was like giving the underground and the lyricists a place and
did
a
you
platform.
see Soul when he came to Durban?
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm blessed, man. Well, the first time I was on shrooms.
Oh, that's
Imagine
amazing.
seeing him perform on shrooms.
Holy
That was
shit.
amazing.
I want that now.
So just last week, it was on the 5th of December 2018, one of the co-founder of Lyricist Lounge did the first South African edition.
Are you part of it?
Yes, I was on the lineup, man. It was just so awesome. Osmic, Hip Hop 411, Amu. There was a lot of people, a lot of great people.
When's that coming out?
Otterell was there as well. Well, we did that last week on the 5th of December, but essentially what I wanted to say is the founder was just echoing everything that I've been saying for the last couple of years, in that, you know, as South African artists, for a long time, our goals have been to go overseas. And what he was just saying, because I realized this and I've been seeing this for a number of years.
Always want to come
South
here.
Africa, dude, is the creative capital of the world right now. You know, there's a lot of saturation that's happening overseas. And he, as an American, as an African American, was saying the same thing. It's like, you guys think you want to move there? The whole world, like everyone wants to come to South Africa
Those are
right now.
biting like from South Africa. They have been
There's
for ages.
so many people, especially with the global citizen event. There's so many people from overseas that are down in the country right now. And I just want to say this, like, it's happening. It's not even prophetic. It's not even a guess or a hypothetical thing.
You can literally see
People
it
from the
happening.
States are coming here and investing into our music industry because we are at the best development stage ever. Like, investors are coming here. Shit is about to pop off.
I mean, how many new genres of music have come out of South Africa in the last 20 years? At least 4 or
Dude.
5. Like,
Everything creative, our ad agencies, our memes, our adverts, our social media, our Twitter. We are creative AF.
well, yeah, I mean, our memes are go global.
You know? So I just want to say to all our South African listeners, like, guys, we are amazing. Don't ever externalize that sense of greatness. We are awesome. We are the creative capital of the world right now, and we have so much to offer ourselves, our families, our communities, our country, this continent. Do not give up. Keep doing what you're doing.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you,
Cool.
Bob.
Thank you, Lex.
That's been amazing.
You've been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.